This video is brought to you by the Battle Zoo Bestiary, a new book featuring 100 award-winning monsters and the monster part system that allows players to harvest resources from their fallen foes and craft into custom gear. The Battle Zoo Bestiary is now available at battlezoo.com. Alright, so the next question I have here is one that generated a lot of conversation on one of my previous videos, and it's about falling, and how exactly within the rules we're supposed to manage someone falling. So if a creature falls a long distance during an encounter, how is that distance processed? Does all of the falling distance occur on that creature's turn? Do you divide that amount of distance between all the different creatures that are involved in the encounter? How do you manage something like falling a great distance during an encounter?
Usually just for simplicity, you kind of just do it immediately. Mm-hmm. So if, you're at the edge of a cliff and it's the frost giant's turn and the frost giant, pushes you off the cliff, you're just going to go, okay, I immediately fall and I take my falling damage. Mm-hmm. I do think there's some wiggle room for, if you're GMing a very bizarre encounter and, there's, you're on the plane of air and there are these updrafts that are, screwing with things, right? I think it's reasonable to kind of say like, in certain situations, like, okay, we're going to, meter this out because we're having one fight that's 120 feet above the other fight or something like that, or 300 feet above the other fight. But usually it's just going to happen immediately, so you don't have weird situations like, the dragon attacks you and then flies down 60 feet and attacks you again as you're falling, and, just a bunch of stuff that's kind of annoying to track. So most of the time you just resolve it right away.
Yeah, that's certainly... The simplest method is resolving it all right away. I've had situations I know where someone like what you're saying, where I had PCs on different levels, and if somebody was pushed and he said, well, it all happens at once, so I'm sorry, but he just passed you. That's not a great response when you have other characters like, well, I would want to try to grab them or do something, and not just feel completely helpless. And like, that's a situation where I just feel like as a GM, you're allowed to say, well, you know what, I'm going to allow you to spend your reaction right now and, do that, right, or what have you.
Right, and we certainly have like grab an edge, and you can kind of say like, well, if the other character wants to try to grab you, we're going to run that the same way as if you were if there were an edge for you to grab, your ally is going to do that. I think that makes perfect sense. You can use some logic in it. The main thing is just like, here's the simple thing to resolve that works in 95% of situations, and then the rest of the time you can play with it if it's going to be more engaging and more fun for your game to do so.
So there you have it. As always, I'd like to take a quick moment to thank everyone who supports this channel by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, subscribing to the Patreon, leaving comments, sharing the videos with your friends. Everything the community does to support me is greatly appreciated. I also, of course, want to thank Mr. Logan Bonner for his time answering questions with us. And with that, thanks for watching, take care, and happy gaming.